All right, ready for another deep dive. Today we're heading into Manaheim Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that magical school. It's like Hogwarts, but
With its own unique twist, right?
yeah, exactly. And today we're focusing on one house in particular, the Verdant Deer.
Ah, the heart of the deer.
Exactly. They're known for their empathy, wisdom, and this like passion for making the world a better place.
Yeah.
We're going to be unpacking all of this from a document simply titled verdantdeer.pdf. So what makes these students tick? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And how do they navigate this whole house system at Manaheim?
Such a cool deep dive.
Yeah, so for anyone who needs a quick refresher, Manaheim Academy has this house system.
Right.
It's kind of like a lot of other magical schools we know and love, but it's not just about sorting students into groups.
No, it's about community.
Yeah.
It's about fostering growth and encouraging friendly competition and celebrating all the diverse magical talents within the student body.
Yeah, and it's not like students only interact within their own houses. There's a ton of collaboration and cross-pollination going on.
Absolutely. Think of it like a network of learning communities, each with its own distinct personality and strengths.
Right.
And within this magical ecosystem, the Verdant Deer make up about 20% of the student body, which is roughly 6,000 students.
Wow. Okay, so what makes a verdant deer stand out from the crowd? What are their, like, defining traits?
Well, if our document is accurate,
Yeah.
they're known for being empathetic, thoughtful, wise, and progressive. Yeah, it's not just book smarts with these folks. They lead with their hearts.
Right.
They're emotionally intelligent, and they genuinely care about making a real difference in the world.
So they're like the idealists of Manaheim.
Yeah.
Do they ever clash with other houses who, like, prioritize logic or ambition over empathy?
Oh, absolutely. We'll get to that.
Okay.
But first, let's stick with their core values. The Verdant Deer, they prioritize things like intercultural harmony.
Yeah.
They see themselves as part of a global community.
Right.
They value thoughtfulness, introspection, and of course they have this burning desire to make a positive impact on the world.
I mean, their motto is for a better tomorrow. So you can
Yeah.
already see how that could be like a source of both strength and potential conflict, right?
For sure.
I mean, trying to change the world is a tall order.
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head.
Okay.
But before we get too deep into the complexities of their world-changing ambitions, I think it would help to ground this a little.
Yeah, good idea.
What does an average Verdant Deer student actually look like day to day?
I like that. Paint me a picture.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're walking through the halls of Manaheim,
Okay.
and you see a student organizing a volunteer drive to help a magical creature sanctuary,
Okay.
or maybe passionately debating the ethics of a new spell with a group from another house.
Right.
That's probably a Verdant Deer.
Gotcha. So they're not just talking about change, they're actively trying to make it happen.
Exactly. And they do it with this gentle but persistent passion. They're often the mediators in disputes or the ones offering a listening ear to classmates who are struggling.
Right.
They're dreamers, but they're also doers, always thinking about long-term societal change and how they can contribute to it.
Both magically and personally.
But magically and personally, yeah.
Okay. It's like they have a natural talent for, like, understanding and connecting with others.
You could say that. Their emotional intelligence is definitely one of their biggest strengths.
Okay.
That and their incredible sense of purpose. They have this drive to leave the world better than they found it.
Which is inspiring.
It is.
But I can also see how that kind of drive could lead to burnout.
Uh-huh.
Are there any downsides to being so focused on fixing the world's problems?
You're absolutely right. One of their main weaknesses is their vulnerability to burnout. It's emotionally exhausting to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, and they often forget to take care of themselves in the process.
Yeah, it's like their idealism runs the risk of turning into their own personal kryptonite.
Right.
So who helps them navigate that? Who are their mentors?
Well, there's one figure who is absolutely crucial to the Verdant Deer experience, Professor Myrtle of the Oak.
Okay.
She's like the embodiment of their values. Think mint green hair flowing like a waterfall of leaves, vibrant orange eyes that seem to glow with wisdom,
Whoa.
pale skin, and those druidic robes adorned with vines and floral embroidery.
She sounds pretty intense.
She has a distinct presence, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And her teaching style is very unique.
Okay.
But, the students really respond to her. She's not focused on pushing them towards achievement or traditional measures of success. She's much more interested in nurturing their personal growth, helping them to find their inner strength, and guiding them towards becoming good humans, not just good magic users.
So she's less about grades and more about character development.
Exactly. She's known for her endless patience and compassion,
Okay.
always ready to offer a listening ear and wise counsel.
Especially to students who might be struggling with that whole saving the world thing.
Especially to those students.
Yeah, I bet that's super valuable given, their tendency towards burnout.
For sure.
But let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
What about their traditions? I mean, every Hogwarts house has its quirks, right?
Right.
What are some of the things that make the Verdant Deer unique?
Well, one tradition that really stands out is Roots Day.
Roots Day.
It's a day dedicated to growth and renewal, and it's celebrated by planting a seed.
Hmm.
Each student chooses a seed that represents their personal aspirations and their commitment to nurturing something greater than themselves.
So it's not just about gardening, it's about,
It's a ritual,
yeah, it's about intention setting, self-reflection.
and it's a ritual that continues throughout the year.
Oh,
Students tend to gneiss their plants, watching them grow and flourish, which becomes a living metaphor for their own personal development.
that's cool.
Professor Myrtle's classroom is actually an indoor garden.
Wait, their classroom is a garden?
It is. Students learn amidst the flora and fauna she cultivates.
That's awesome. Why a garden, though? Like, how does that tie into the Verdant Deer's education?
Well, Professor Myrtle's choice of classroom is no accident.
Right.
For Verdant Deer, learning isn't just about absorbing information. It's about connecting with nature and understanding the delicate balance of life.
Okay.
Their magic is deeply intertwined with the natural world.
I can see that.
So it makes sense that their learning environment would reflect that.
Yeah, that's cool. So what else do they do besides plant seeds and learn in a magical greenhouse? Any other, interesting traditions?
Well, there's the giving tree ritual,
Okay.
which is all about reflection and sharing wisdom.
Right.
Students write down their achievements, lessons learned, and words of encouragement on small wooden tokens,
Okay.
and then hang them on the house's giving tree.
I'm picturing this giant ancient tree covered in these little wooden tokens.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. What happens to them all?
At the end of the year, the tokens are gathered and preserved as part of the house's legacy.
Oh, wow.
It becomes this living archive of their journey, honoring each student's growth and creating a tangible record of their shared experiences.
I like that.
They also have this beautiful moonlight ceremony
Okay.
where they gather under the stars,
Hmm.
meditate, share stories, and light candles.
That sounds very peaceful.
It is. They create this atmosphere of peace and connection, and it all culminates with them sleeping under the stars.
Oh, wow.
It's a symbolic act representing harmony between themselves and the natural world,
Hmm.
which, as you can imagine, is pretty important to them.
Yeah, for sure. So peaceful and inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked about their personality, their values, their head professor, and even their unique traditions.
Right.
What about their aesthetics? Like, what colors and symbols represent the Verdant Deer?
Their colors are pine, green, beige, and white, evoking a sense of nature, tranquility, and purity.
That definitely fits their vibe.
Yeah.
What about their mascot?
You guessed it. A deer.
I knew it.
Symbolizing grace, gentleness, and that deep connection to the natural world.
Okay, last question before we move on.
Okay.
What's their common room like?
Oh, you're going to love this.
I'm dying to know.
Imagine stepping into their common room and it's like, breathing in fresh air.
Okay.
After being stuck in a stuffy library, you're surrounded by natural light streaming in through large windows that offer incredible views of the surrounding forest.
Oh,
The scent of wood and herbs fills the air, and the use of natural materials creates this grounded, earthy feel.
it sounds so peaceful.
It is, but it's not just peaceful. The interior design uses a lot of warm, vibrant colors like yellow and gold, with neutral accents to create balance. It's bright and cheerful, designed to foster creativity and a sense of community.
So I can totally picture students gathering there after a long day of classes,
Yeah.
maybe working on projects together, sharing stories, or just relaxing and enjoying each other's company.
You've got it. It's a true reflection of the Verdant Deer spirit.
Yeah.
Welcoming, inspiring, and deeply connected to the natural world.
We've learned so much about these fascinating students.
We have.
But I know there's more to uncover, right? What else is there to discover about the Verdant Deer?
We've only just scratched the surface. Next, we need to talk about their achievements.
Okay.
Remember, the Verdant Deer haven't just been dreaming of a better world. They've been actively working to make it a reality.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's dive into that.
They're all about action. And their impact goes way beyond the walls of Manaheim. One of their most notable achievements is the Green Horizon Initiative.
Okay, now this sounds like something right up their alley.
It is. It's a massive global project focused on things like reforestation, magical agriculture, and finding more sustainable ways to use magic to heal the planet.
Okay, that's seriously ambitious. It makes you wonder about the political and magical challenges they must have faced to get a project of that scale off the ground.
Right.
It really shows how deeply committed they are to their values. But it's not just about the environment, right?
Yeah.
They're concerned with social issues as well.
Exactly. They've also founded the Compassion Corps.
Okay.
It's a volunteer organization that provides aid and education to those in need, both in the magical and non-magical communities.
So they're not just focused on the big picture, they're also working to, like, improve the lives of individuals.
Right.
It's like they're taking their empathy and putting it into action on multiple fronts.
That's a great way to put it. And their impact extends beyond just founding organizations.
Okay.
They've also made some really significant breakthroughs in a field of magic known as empathy magic.
Empathy magic. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
What exactly is that?
Imagine spells designed to enhance understanding and build emotional connections between individuals, or even entire groups of people.
So it's not about brute force or flashy displays of power. It's about using magic to, like, bridge divides and build stronger, more compassionate relationships.
Precisely. And the Verdant Deer have been at the forefront of this field, contributing to peace-building initiatives, developing new approaches to mental health treatment, and even finding ways to help people overcome deep-seated prejudices.
It's like they're turning the traditional image of magic on its head. They see it as a tool for healing and connection, not just power and control.
That's a really insightful observation. It really speaks to the core of who they are and what they value.
Yeah.
But all this talk about unity and cooperation, I can't help but wonder, how does this all play out in the context of the house system? I mean, we've talked about collaboration.
Right.
But there's got to be some healthy competition going on too, right?
Yeah.
How did the Verdant Deer interact with the other houses, particularly those with very different values?
Right. Like the Azure Bears, for example.
Yeah.
They're known for their strength, tradition, and unwavering loyalty. I imagine that there could be some friction between the two.
There definitely is. While they respect each other's strengths, there's a definite clash of perspectives.
Okay.
The Bears, with their emphasis on tradition and stability, often see the Deer as a bit too idealistic,
Right.
a bit too eager for change. And the Deer, in turn, sometimes find the Bears a bit too resistant to new ideas.
It's like the old guard versus the progressive movement, but with a magical twist.
Right.
So it's not like outright animosity, more like a philosophical difference.
Exactly. They find ways to work together, especially when it comes to community-based projects.
Right.
But there's always that underlying tension between preserving the old ways and embracing new possibilities.
Yeah.
And that tension gets even more intense when it comes to their relationship with the Crimson Tigers.
Ah, yes. The Crimson Tigers, known for their ambition, their fierce competitiveness, and, let's be honest, their love of power.
Right.
This sounds like a recipe for some serious fireworks.
You could say that.
Yeah.
The Deer and the Tigers are like oil and water. They clash on almost everything, from politics and ethics to how they view the role of magic in society.
Yeah.
The Deer see the Tigers as power-hungry and ruthless, while the Tigers view the Deer as naive and idealistic.
So their core values are, like, fundamentally different.
Yeah.
It's like a clash of worldviews. So I'm guessing there's not a lot of collaboration happening between these two.
There are moments, of course. They can find common ground when it comes to defending Manaheim.
Right.
Or tackling a major threat to the magical world.
Right.
But those moments are rare. More often than not, they're butting heads in student government meetings, debating the finer points of magical ethics, or just trying to outdo each other in every single class.
So we've covered the Bears and the Tigers. What about the Golden Eagles?
Ah, the Eagles.
They seem like a bit more, like, free-spirited.
Yeah.
How do they fit into this whole dynamic?
The Eagles, known for their creativity, freedom, and love of self-expression, have a more complex relationship with the Deer.
Okay.
On the surface, they seem like they'd get along well.
Right.
They both value creativity, individuality, and thinking outside the box.
Yeah, they're the artists and the philosophers of Manaheim.
Right.
But there must be some wrinkles in that relationship, right?
You're reading my mind. The main point of friction is their approach to creativity.
Okay.
The Deer are more thoughtful and introspective,
Right.
while the Eagles are all about spontaneity, and letting inspiration strike.
So the deer might see the eagles as a little too impulsive, and the eagles might find the deer a bit too hesitant or overthinking.
Exactly. They can learn from each other, of course, but they also tend to misunderstand each other's creative processes,
Right.
which can lead to conflict.
It's fascinating how these different personalities like clash and collaborate
Yeah.
within the house system.
Okay.
It's like a microcosm of the magical world itself,
It is.
full of different perspectives and approaches to life. But ultimately, they're all part of the same community.
That's the beauty of Manaheim. It's a place where students from all walks of life, with all sorts of magical talents,
Right.
can come together, learn from each other, and hopefully grow into the best versions of themselves. It's not about erasing their differences.
Yeah.
It's about finding ways to bridge those differences and create something even stronger and more vibrant.
It's a reminder that even when we disagree, we can still learn from each other
Yeah.
and work together towards a common goal. Now, we've talked a lot about the Verdant Deer's achievements in the magical world, but are there any, notable alumni who've gone on to do amazing things? Who are the superstars of the Verdant Deer?
Oh, there are so many. We could spend an entire episode just talking about their incredible alumni.
Okay, well, give me the highlights.
Well, there's Eldrin Thistlewood,
Okay.
who, after graduating top of his class, went on to become a world-renowned healer and a pioneer in magical therapies for trauma survivors.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like he took the Verdant Deer's empathy
Yeah,
and turned it into a powerful force for healing.
exactly. And then there's Alara Silverstream,
Okay.
who as a student was a fierce advocate for magical creature rights.
Oh, cool.
After graduating, she dedicated her life to establishing sanctuaries for endangered magical creatures. And she's now considered one of the leading voices in magical conservation.
So they're not just good at magic,
Right.
they're also using their skills and passion to make a real difference in the world.
And they're inspiring a whole new generation of verdant deer to do the same. It's a legacy that continues to grow and evolve.
It's amazing to see how they're carrying the torch, so to speak,
Yeah,
building on the foundation laid by those who came before them.
right.
It really speaks to the strength and longevity of the Verdant Deer's ideals.
For sure.
But I'm curious, we talked about their collaboration with other houses, but you mentioned earlier that there's this big rivalry between the Verdant Deer and another house.
Ah, yes. The Clash of the Titans.
Mhm.
Verdant Deer versus Crimson Tigers.
Oh, this is it.
It's rivalry for the ages.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's at the heart of this epic clash?
At its core, it's a fundamental difference in philosophies. The deer, with their unwavering belief in compassion and cooperation, constantly butt heads with the tigers, who value ambition and competition above all else.
So are we talking full-blown animosity, or is it more of a healthy rivalry?
It's definitely heated. I mean, imagine a student government meeting where the deer are advocating for social justice reforms and the tigers are pushing for policies that primarily benefit the elite. They see the world in completely different ways.
Right. It's like those classic debates about idealism versus pragmatism.
Exactly.
The deer are all about creating a world where everyone thrives, where power is used for the greater good.
Right.
And the tigers are more focused on, winning.
Exactly. The tigers see the world as a game with winners and losers,
Okay.
and they're determined to come out on top no matter what. It creates some pretty intense clashes both inside and outside the classroom.
Wow, it sounds like a recipe for some serious drama. But even with these, stark differences,
Yeah.
I have to imagine there are moments when they find some common ground, right?
Sure.
Manaheim can't be in a constant state of magical civil war.
You're right. Remember, Manaheim is all about finding balance. Even the fiercest rivals can come together when faced with a common threat or a shared goal.
Right.
Think of it like those old sports movies where rival teams have to set aside their differences to save the school from closing down or something.
Okay, I love that analogy. So it's not all doom and gloom. There's hope for peace in the magical realm.
Absolutely. And it's in those moments of collaboration, however rare they might be, that we see the true strength of the Manaheim community. When the chips are down, everyone, regardless of house affiliation, rallies together to protect their school and uphold the values that make Manaheim special.
That's the Manaheim spirit.
It is.
It's heartwarming to know that even in a school full of magical rivalries and competing philosophies, there's still that underlying sense of unity.
It's a good reminder that even when we vehemently disagree with someone, there's still a chance for understanding and cooperation. And sometimes working with someone who challenges our beliefs can actually help us to grow and evolve.
Well said. So after all this, what's the biggest takeaway? What does all this tell us about the verdant deer?
I think it paints a more complete picture of who they are. They're not just gentle dreamers, they're also passionate advocates for change. They're not afraid to stand up for what they believe in, even when it means going toe-to-toe with formidable opponents, like the Crimson Tigers.
So they're not just the heart of Manaheim, they're also its conscience.
Constantly pushing for a more just and compassionate world, both within the school and beyond.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lesson we can all take to heart, whether we're navigating the halls of Magical Academy or the complexities of everyday life. It's about finding that balance between idealism and action, between compassion and the courage to stand up for what you believe in.
This deep dive has been truly illuminating. We've gone from a basic understanding of the verdant deer to a much richer appreciation for their complexity, their achievements, their challenges, and their unwavering commitment to making the world a better place.
They're truly a fascinating group, aren't they? And I think we can all agree they bring something truly special to the magical world.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. The verdant deer's motto, "For a better tomorrow." It's a beautiful sentiment, but I'm curious, like, what does it mean to you? What kind of world do you want to create? What seed of change will you plant today? That's a wonderful question. And it's one we should all be asking ourselves. It doesn't have to be some grand world-changing gesture.
Right.
It could be something as simple as volunteering in your community, standing up for someone who's being mistreated, or simply making a conscious effort to be more kind and compassionate in your daily interactions. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the potential to create a ripple effect, making the world a little brighter, a little more hopeful.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world of the verdant deer.
Until next time, may your days be filled with magic, wonder, and a little bit of verdant deer inspiration.